So you're not feeling well. You go to a hospital and then you see a doctor. The doctor tells you that you need surgery. Then the surgeon tells you that the tools that you need for the surgery are not available. And so, what does he do? He picks a private pharmacy form, scribbles on it, and then suddenly your entire life is tied to a system outside the hospital's walls. Is this relatable? This is the beginning of a very interesting story we term medical Kalabule. The Fourth Estate has uncovered a scheme that preys on the desperation of critically ill patients and their families. But what is the ideal situation?
In an ideal system, we should not have patients being tossed around to buy specific things that the health system is supposed to have to resolve their problem. When you do that, you may actually make the practitioners and the patients both victims of an inhumanely set up healthcare system. But then also, we may lie the window of opportunism that some practitioners may then take advantage of these inefficiencies in our system to then unfairly, for pecuniary reasons, to then exploit vulnerable patients.
Perfect Sunday, not her real name, but a name we changed to protect her, landed in Accra from Nigeria on 24th July 2024. She had tirelessly raised $10,000 through crowdfunding from strangers, friends, family for her brother's brain tumor surgery. The brother, Adebayo, could not have his surgery done in Nigeria because, according to Perfect, Nigeria lacked the equipment needed.
Looking at the financial implication, it looked like number one, we had to deal with visa if we were going to Morocco, and also the professor told us he can't really say anything until we come for consultation, which was a big financial risk because we can't go through all the stress of going to Morocco just for consultation. What if he said he doesn't want to do it? So that's why Morocco was out of it. So we were left with the option of Ghana.
They checked into Ridge Hospital praying they would return to Nigeria with good news. After a quick assessment, she was handed a specialized request form. This form is used to prescribe surgical tools, equipment, and consumables. Well, this form is not a Ridge Hospital or Ghana Health Service prescription form, but a private pharmacy called Access Pharmacy. Look closely under the column titled Fractures, Types, and Pathology. This simply means the scientific study of disease. The prescriber, Dr. Hassan Andani, who indicated he signed for Prof. Kaba, lists the condition and what is needed for the surgery. Dr. Kaba is currently the Director General of the Ghana Health Service. The equipment needed for the surgery and the condition of the patient was described as brainstem tumor for neuronavigation and endoscopic assisted. If you look closely, you can also realize that the tools are also coded 031 and 032. These items and things you take home. The state invested this equipment specifically to support the historic separation of the conjoined twins in 2022, a procedure that drew national attention. Ridge Hospital inherited the equipment after the surgery. In fact, it's a great investment that the surgeons of Ridge Hospital are proud of.
So this is something we actually want to introduce into our learning process in the country. Because this is the future of medicine. Normally, when you do an X-ray or CT scan or MRI, you have a 2D in front of you. You can't actually see behind it. But this one, you can see behind. You can see from top, bottom, up, down. So we think it's extremely important for that. for the patient and the family, in our experience, is that when you tell a patient that you have a clot in your brain, you have a tumor in your brain or in your spine, it's like you've condemned the person to death. They don't understand, they get scared. But when you give it to them and show them that, look, this is the problem and this is the way we're going to approach it, they become more relaxed, they tend to be more cooperative, and it's extremely good for patient care. It actually ups the quality of care we give to our patient.
Dr. Divine Bayumbala, the registrar of the Ghana Medical and Dental Council, is stunned.
Even though it's a photocopied document, on the face of it is an indication that the patient was seen in a public facility and this prescription is issuing from that public facility. There are other things that are here we will need further explanation. For example, is it that it is a whole system? Because the system that is in reference here is something that will be there for use for several patients. So even though no specific amount is quoted, is it for use of the system in the public facility? Or they are procuring a part of it, some accessory from the private place to be used in the public place? It is all muddled up, and these are clear instances of, on the face of it, something that is professionally irregular, inconsistent with established professional norms.
The further stage reached out to Dr. Hassan Andani for an interview. We wanted to know who asked him to use the Access Pharmacy form. He stated that he was merely a trainee neurosurgeon and directed us to contact the appropriate authorities at the hospital. We subsequently wrote to the medical director of the Ridge Hospital, Dr. Leslie Adams Zakaria, requesting that Dr. Hassan Andani and the neurosurgical team be made available for an interview on the issue. Despite repeated follow-ups, our requests were ignored. Perfect is given a number to contact Access Pharmacy.
So when I went there, my first observation was the pharmacy was really small. It looked more like a chemist than a pharmacy. So I actually thought I was in the wrong place and maybe there are like different Access pharmacies. So I still put it on Google Map and it showed me I was in the right place. So I entered. I remember the name of the person I met there was Peter.
Shortly after, she gets an invoice of 7,000 cedis. But while getting ready to pay, the pharmacy told her it was rather $7,000. The $7,000 bill shocked her, but desperation won.
They sent an invoice, first of all. Then when I told them, okay, how do I make payments? Is it in cash or transfer? So that I'll know how I'll get there, if I'll need to go to the bank, change money, or I can just do a transfer. So that was when the person I messaged now said he made a mistake and sent me another invoice. And the other invoice was in dollars, whereas the first one was in Ghana cedis. I actually told the person, I was like, hey, did you make a mistake? Maybe you intended to write 5,000 Ghana cedis or 2,000 Ghana cedis, but you made a mistake and wrote USD. And the person said, it's not a mistake.
Why would the pharmacy in Ghana quote prices in US dollars to a foreign patient walking into a public hospital? How could a pricing error involving thousands of dollars be so casually made?
If it's open market, yes, why should there be any differential charge? Because it doesn't differentiate. When I walk into a pharmacy or into a shop to buy bread, for example, does it tell whether this is a non-Ghanaian face, therefore the bread is suddenly $10 rather than 10 cedis? You understand what I mean? Yes.
The Foreign Exchange Act 2006, Act 732, prohibits the pricing of goods and services in foreign currency in Ghana. In fact, Access Pharmacy issued an officially stamped receipt of $5,000 and $2,000 for surgical supplies on the 27th July 2024. According to the law, such violations are punishable on summary conviction with a fine of up to 700 penalty units or a prison term of not more than 18 months or both. Perfect said when she wanted to see the equipment she bought, the pharmacy told her that the tools needed to be sterile. She eventually gave up, paid, and handed the receipts to the neurosurgeons at the Ridge Hospital. The fourth estate has confirmed that the money was indeed paid to Access Pharmacy in response to a formal letter listing the receipt numbers referenced in the investigation. The pharmacy acknowledged that the receipts were linked to a foreign patient.
And I asked at least won't I see what I'm paying for? And they said because it's for a brain surgery, it's a very sensitive tool, so they don't want what's the word? They don't want any infection, so they have to maintain the sterile. So it's going to be taken directly to the theater.
After the surgery, Perfect's brother Adebayo was placed on a ventilator, but he died. The doctors later told Perfect that he had succumbed to an infection in the theater. What continues to gnaw at Perfect's mind is not just the loss, but the growing suspicion that she may have been exploited in the process. Grief-stricken and out of funds, Perfect only wanted to retrieve her brother's body for burial, but the shock wasn't over. The hospital handed her an additional bill of 55,000 cedis. The billing office explained that the hospital had not received a dime from her.
We kept going from one place to the other, looking for how it can be waived and all that. So I wrote to the church. They were helping with burial arrangements, so they were asking about when it's going to be. They are asking about when will the body be released so they can proceed with the burial arrangement. And I told them there is a delay because of the bill, and they kept okay, is there anyone they can talk to? So after much pleading and begging, the church in Nigeria here and the church in Ghana were able to support with 15,000 Ghana cedis. They wrote a check which I took to the finance department. So meaning we had already covered 25,000 Ghana cedis.
She only paid 30,000 cedis and pleaded with the hospital to waive the remaining bill. The hospital did so on humanitarian grounds. Now let's analyze this carefully. This means that in July 2024, Access Pharmacy got $7,000 from Adebayo, the equivalent of 103,227 at the Bank of Ghana's interbank rate of 14.7467 to $1 at the time. By contrast, Ridge Hospital, the facility that actually performed the surgery with its state-of-the-art equipment, received only 30,000 cedis. It even had to waive an additional 25,000 on humanitarian grounds. The inescapable question is, how does a private pharmacy walk away with over 103,000 Ghana cedis for consumables, while the public hospital at the heart of the life-saving operation gets barely a third of that amount? She said her parents decided to bury Adebayo in Ghana because it would be too expensive to fly his remains back home.
The mortuary bill wasn't included. All this while we were going around, we had already accumulated I think up to 690 something Ghana cedis for mortuary fee. So they also waived that. They waived it and we were able to just bury him the next day after the waiver.
This is not the only time some neurosurgeons at the Ridge Hospital have referred patients to Access Pharmacy to buy tools and consumables for surgery. The fourth estate has received many prescriptions signed by many doctors. Red Hospital's own third quarter internal audit report for 2023 found that some surgeons were dealing with Access Pharmacy without authorization. The report noted that implants and instruments were kept at the hospital and used on patients who paid without approval from management.
And the extract from the company report reads, "We have observed that the surgical department has entered into an agreement with companies Starrate Care Limited and Access Pharmacy Limited, whereby implants and instruments from these companies for orthopedic and neurosurgeries are kept at the hospital by doctors, which they do not have the capacity to engage in such an arrangement except the hospital or management. Whenever these items are needed for surgical procedure, a doctor fills in a request form from the company with product code for patient who sends it to the company through WhatsApp. The company generates an invoice and sends it to the patient through the same medium, asking him or her to make payments to their bank. When payment is done at the bank, the patient then sends the pay-in slip to the company through WhatsApp, and a copy is given to the doctor before the implant or instrument can be used for the operation. The same process is repeated when an implant is due for removal."
If the head won't ache, the head will ache me. If I take medicine, it's not good. Unless the time that it wants. If it is 1 hour, it will say 1 hour. Very good. So I suffered a lot.
52-year-old Amadou Sambo, a resident of Ho, is grateful for brain surgeons for operating on him to ease his unbearable headache as a result of brain tumor. Although he's not completely out of the woods yet, he's looking forward to another surgery to improve his condition. But the first surgery cost him almost all his properties.
My business all stopped. I'm selling cow. I'm buying cow and selling.
So you sold all your cows?
Yes.
Like how many? Like 50?
They will catch about 20. Yeah, approximately.
He's grateful to all the people who helped him make this surgery possible.
I thank them very much. They have done a very good work. I thank them. Like not because of them. Oh, where will I get the money to? To India.
Allah bless them. Allah will bless them. Allah will bless them.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
It's not everybody that will get this laugh. If they didn't love you, they don't do that. Oh, now they are better. Now, I cannot perform. But now I can do that.
You can walk.
I can walk small.
Yeah.
Now
the headache too.
Yeah, the headache too is somehow better now.
But Amadou's specialized request form reveals yet another troubling pattern: the use of Access Pharmacy parts within the public hospital, coded and signed by surgeons, effectively leaving desperate patients with no choice but to buy from a specific source. Amadou's family had initially agreed to provide receipts showing how much they spent on consumables, but they later declined. A lawyer contacted the fourth estate to state that their clients no longer wish to engage on the matter or release the receipts.
So now here, there are two ways. What is the hospital's standard rate? Because all these operations, you will need a virtual reality system.
Yes.
because you have to navigate. Now, there may be, it is not for the cost of the system. It may be for use
of the system.
System, which has to go to the hospital.
Yes.
Now you are asking them to pay to as if they are giving them a whole system.
Yes.
Or maybe for you to use the system, you require a certain component. You has to be clear. Because here it gives the impression that it's the entire virtual reality system.
Exactly.
So you have to indicate what 026 means.
Just like the fourth estate, the Ghana Medical and Dental Council is also curious why the list of equipment is already coded.
The name of the facility is there, written in pen, but the prescription is on a private facility's prescription document. On the face of it is an indication that it's in a public, the patient was seen in a public facility, so this may seem to disclose issues of improper business association or issues of collusion or clear conflict of interest situation. And this is a matter that we are very interested in, and then we will be happy if you are able to assist us so that we can work together and get to the bottom of it from a regulator's perspective.
The fourth estate reached out to Dr. Samuel Kaba Korea, the current director of the Ghana Health Service, for a response because his name was on the specialized request forms. We wanted to find out why many requests were written on private pharmacy forms. He initially agreed to grant an interview at his office, located at the headquarters of the Ghana Health Service, but later changed the venue to the Ridge Hospital, explaining that he wanted to practically demonstrate the use of surgical equipment to support his account. However, while at the hospital, he instructed a staff member to contact National Security.
No, just to let him know that we are here to do some activity with some journalists. Or else if he's not, you ask what activity. Yeah. If not, then let's get National Security.
Shortly after, the Director of Special Operations at the National Security, Richard Jakpa, called.
I'm coming to interview him. I can't tell you about what it is about. You should leave there immediately.
Why is this a national security issue? Why should a simple interview between the fourth estate and a public official trigger a call from the Director of Special Operations? When National Security ordered us to leave,
You should leave there immediately.
it wasn't protocol, it was intimidation. And in that moment, we had to abandon the interview for our own safety. This is no longer about hospital practices. It's about power trying to silence accountability. Later, Dr. Kaba followed up with a phone call, and his lawyer insisted he will only answer via text. He sent a mail requesting that questions be sent to him so he could provide his response.
It is normal practice in hospitals for pharmaceutical companies to donate souvenirs in the form of writing pads to hospitals. Typical medications are written on prescription forms. Lab investigations are written on lab request forms and consumables. The consumables you referred to as tools are not medication to be prescribed on official prescription forms. Nonetheless, the practice was immediately stopped when the attention of the team was drawn.
Is it normal practice to have doctors or surgeons write your diagnosis and the things needed on a private pharmacy pad, for example?
No. That's inappropriate. Since I came here, I've never seen any other kind of prescription, and I've not seen any other prescription, a private prescription. All I've seen is a hospital approved ones, and it is not expected of a doctor to use a private pharmacy's prescription within the facility. Now the hospital has developed an implant policy where we try to get what we need in-house, and then we have developed a system where the request will be made to our procurement unit, so we get exactly what the surgeons need, and then we can make that available to them in theatre. So we are still in the process. We've not had approvals from Director General, but that is a solution we think will help resolve a lot of these implant issues.
Does the Ghana Medical and Dental Council agree with him?
But to sit in a public hospital, as I'm made to believe, and prescribe on a private provider's form is most irregular on the face of it.
So why is the Rich Hospital not handling procurement of these consumables? Dr. Kaba responds.
The memo was approved by the former director of the hospital for patients to buy their consumables until the hospital stocks were ready.
The Fourth Estate requested an interview with Access Pharmacy, but the shop attendant said the owner had instructed him not to accept any letter from us. Calls to the phone numbers displayed at the pharmacy eventually reached Mr. Kofi Jifa Semenyo Japata, who is the owner of the pharmacy. He confirmed receipt of the letter and explained that the pharmacy would consult its lawyers before responding. Soon after, his lawyer Papa Kofi Negle wrote to the Fourth Estate stating that Access Pharmacy would only respond in writing and not in a recorded interview. On the issue of charging Perfect in US dollars, a violation of Ghana's Foreign Exchange Act, Access Pharmacy said,
the patients elected to transact in US dollars rather than Ghana cedis.
Perfect disputes the claims. When asked for a breakdown of consumables that added up to 7,000 US dollars, Access Pharmacy refused.
We are not under any legal obligation to share transactional documents with the Fourth Estate. Disclosures would only be made to competent investigative or regulatory bodies if allegations of criminality arise.
Access Pharmacy further stated it had no contractual ties with Rich Hospital, insisting patients purchased voluntarily and were not compelled to buy from them. The Fourth Estate sent a right to information request to the Food and Drugs Authority seeking to know the full list of companies with license to import medical implements and consumables, and Access Pharmacy was not on the list. When the Fourth Estate asked Access Pharmacy why it was selling equipment when it had no license, the lawyer answered,
my client is a retailer, not an importer, and thus does not require an FDA importation license.
But this answer raises an even more troubling question. So why are surgeons referring patients to a pharmacy that has no license to import medical equipment? For families like Perfect, the price of hope was devastating. For Ghana's health system, many questions remain unanswered. But who really profits from the pain of the patients?
Doctor says so no motivation na no no about be try say you say no. 4,000 now mama so doctor no ka catch any dada.
4,000 no. For like the general BBA na senior first one no.
No, it's for the song. First not all the money goes to the government, but they say no government no, so they don't get their money back. They say no. Or no doctor any service charge. Any theater, any saw now or better no.
Okay.
So only for time, but they will call the company. They will bring the saw.